Hello everyone, my name is Kieran and today I will be sharing with you a presentation about Guaman, Poma de Ayala. So a little bit about me, I am a fourth year honors BA student in history with an advanced minor in FLS. I am also a TA in an American history class. Most of the classes that I take and courses that I take are post-colonial or colonial European history classes. So I am feeling a little bit out of my element in this class. Nonetheless, I'm very eager to explore my topic with you all. I was kind of nervous about choosing this topic because it was one of the last ones available when I joined the class so late into the semester. But I did a lot of research and reading, and I hope you all learned just as much as I did. So today, as I said before, I am going to be talking about Felipe Guaman Poma de Ayala, the focus on his work rather than his biography. Guaman Poma de Ayala was born in and around 1534, although his exact date of birth, according to historians, is not certain. He was a purebred Andean Aboriginal from the Huamanga and Arequipa regions. And as we learned in two of our most recent readings, he was well enriched in both his native languages and Spanish. So when he left his home regions, he became a Spanish and native interpreter for the colonials. Now, you may be wondering why this man is important to study, and I have a very simple answer for you. He spent most of his life writing a huge manuscript that has helped historians understand the past and the present day. Now, the manuscript that I will be sharing with you today is his work called The First New Chronicles and Good Government. It is an 1100 plus page book or manuscript that has over 400 illustrations and prologues that detail the life of people in Peru up until 1615 when the manuscript was finished. And I wasn't able to get my hands on the book itself because it is kept in Denmark, but I did use the David Fry translated and abridged version. And I also used the Danish Royal Library website to view the pictures. The manuscript itself uses a primary source called quipus. So quipus are knotted strings that detail stories experienced by the Incas. This tradition was not passed down to other generations, so you can imagine that with all these people who have passed away from this time, historians find it very hard to figure out what they say. And this is where the manuscript by Guaman de Ayala comes in handy. So, the story within. The story within this book is very long, but again, it states everything that happened in Peru until 1615. First part of the manuscript are letters to the Spanish king, Felipe III, and to the Pope, and as well to the readers. These letters explain what Guaman was looking for. He was actually looking for a blessing from the king to be an administrator in the government in Peru at the time. So his goal was to write the history of the descendants and the famous facts to the first king and the lords, so the life of the Indians and their generations of descent. And now I am going to show you some pictures. So as you can see here, these are some illustrated pictures that you got from the Danish library. And this is actually the last page on the chapter 6. So it says, here you will leave the ideality and take what is of God that was from you. You were great saints of the world, and from now on I serve God to the Virgin Mary and her saints. So I took this as a way to incorporate acculturation into understanding his work. So as I said before, he was a purebred Andean, but then he converted himself to Catholicism. And for me, this was a way to understand how he adopted the new culture in his own. And then here's just another picture. I just wanted everyone to be able to see what was actually in the manuscript. Furthermore, this manuscript provides adequate information used as a wonderful resource to help learn about the Inca culture. So it brings the past to the present, which I think is really important when understanding this module. So the manuscript itself was actually lost, and this is a huge part because it helps us understand why this manuscript is important. So when Guaman Poma de Ayala finished the manuscript, he sent it off to the King of Spain, but it never actually arrived. And without historians and archaeologists finding this resource, the history of the Incas would be really, really hard to understand. Why is this book important to the time, the present, and understanding the module? So why is it important to the time? The book is important to the time because it's a very rare history that is served as and has been helped us to understand the past. It gives a lengthy detail of the history and the culture of the Incas, which again wouldn't have been possible without the help of this work. It also shows the iconographic continuity of motives and helps to expand our knowledge on the time and events that were taking place at the time with help of the Quipu text. We are able to better understand the cultural logics and complexity of what was happening. And it makes us think of the society and events of the age, the society and the events in the eyes of the beholder. It helps us elaborate on the processes of understanding the colonial condition and time. Now, how does this help us understand the module? I wanted to take Guaman Poma de Ayala and think about De la Vega. So Garcia de la Vega saw the history of Peru in a euphoric way that described the events of the life of the Incas in a harmony with the Spanish colonizers. So he thought that they were there and they were doing no harm. But with the illustrations from Guaman Poma de Ayala, we can actually see that this is not true. He takes firsthand experiences and he illustrates them and he writes prologues about what was actually going on at the time. For Poma de la Haya, acculturation worked a lot differently than de la Vega. He did not fully conform to the Spanish culture, but he didn't agree with the fact that he and his people should have to learn and read and write in Spanish, and those who would have to, they would have to communicate and completely able to conform to the Spanish culture. Unlike de la Vega, he has an ideology that thought that they were there to live alongside each other. And the manuscript obviously shows otherwise. So my reflection on this is I think it's very important to understand this topic because as historians, I find it's very difficult to have such amazing primary sources that are preserved so well. I also think that it's very rare that we lose something and then find it again. And I think it was amazing that we can read history from almost 500 years ago that has evidence such as the Quipu text to account for the stories that we learned. Thank you.